JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Thursday, December 4th, 3:32. This fine afternoon talk. Quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P chopping around here, down about a tenth percent. It's been a quiet afternoon since about 11:30. Actually, since 10:30, been chopping between 684 and 683. We had a little pull. Of course, I always open my mouth about the tight trading range, and then the market pulls. So at about 220 or so. Let's see here. Sorry. Of course, I'm losing my breath again. So just pose that little chart. So you a little pull, and then back to normal. The VIX was green, and back into the red. So nothing crazy here today. And then you try to find headlines to move the market or any kind of data or whatever. But all systems go. I don't know how to explain it. Small caps looks like we're going to close a record highs there, and now. One of the headlines is everybody's looking at the inflation data for tomorrow. So the PCE data for September comes out tomorrow. I mean, how many months back you think the market's pricing in PC inflation data from September? So to me that's just kind of like people looking for things to write about. Hey, I'm not saying if there's some crazy PCE data tomorrow that it won't move markets, but to me it's I don't think it's going to do too much. On the flip side, though, this morning's ADP, the weekly jobless claims, one of the strongest numbers. I don't know, was the best since 2020 something, and then before that, since like 2003. So if you want to make the case about the I guess the worries around the jobs report, which we're still waiting on. I guess we're going to get it mid-December. That kind of might alleviate some of the concerns. So to me, when that number came out this morning, I was like, oh no, that's not good for the markets, because the market, we want a rate cut right next week. We don't want the Fed to stand pat. So thankfully, market shook it off, and the rest is history. So hopefully, we have some playable trades tomorrow. PC data will set the stage, I guess, right? And to me, I actually prefer like a red open. So we'll see. Maybe we chop around today, open 682 and change tomorrow, and then play some bounces. That would be the scenario I'd like to see. That's that. I'm trying to think of some of the other news. Really not much in the way of news here today. So that's that. Let's see here. So take a look at the SPY. I said 679, 683. Pretty much right at 683 right now, 683.20, and then 686 maybe tomorrow. So that's that. That's the overall markets. Now, quick on just individual names. First I'll talk quick about SERV Robotics. Lock some more of those. Well, unfortunately, I locked those December 12 calls in yesterday. The thought process behind that, and I put it on the watch list this morning, was more about the time to expiration and the fact that the stock was under $10 when I got the calls. Right, little did I know it was going to rally from $10 to $12 in a matter of 2 days, but that's what you get. And then I think I was on the rant yesterday afternoon saying, like, if you had told me I was going to be able to get out of my calls 75% on coming into the week or even Monday morning, I would have said heck yeah. So. I took those off, and I was still holding January strikes. And the thought of getting those 2 strikes when I added them was that I have the Decembers for short-term gains and December to be able to hold on, right, for the FOMO. So that's how it played out. And then some continuation. And SERV didn't even open in the green, like chopped around. It was in the 12s. Actually, it was 1240 overnight, then dropped under 12, and it was chopping around the 1180s right in the morning. And then boom, once we consolidated a little bit after the open, about 10 o'clock, over $12, and that was it. And it just took off, kept going all the way up past 13 by a little after the noon hour. So I locked some of those January strikes in for 100%, some more in for 300%. I'll just hold the rest. I was actually looking to get some later dated strikes. That was kind of the plan coming into today, but I'm going to sit on my hands. You just never know what happens tomorrow, right? And the small caps hitting all-time highs, maybe there's some profit taking in the end into the weekend. So riding free, plenty of profits. If I see more opportunities, I'll play it for January. I was looking January and then the March strikes. Probably March 20s. I think it was March 20s. And anyway, needless to say, 1375 is the first target. So it gets there and it breaks over, then you're talking $18. All right, so that's SERV. So great trade. I mean, SERV has been like a cash cow the last 6 months or so. How many times it's had these epic multi-week, multi-day rallies that turn these calls into 500, 1,000%, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's SERV. Then just quick on into other names, and Lemonade, before the end of the day, I might look to get some strikes. I have this bull flag, and it just broke the upper trend line earlier today, and I'm sitting here, and it was like yesterday, I'm like, do I get the calls on the bounce? And then today it starts to go in the morning. I kind of missed the first little burst, and then I'm watching in the afternoon, all the way up to 79. The the 90 strikes into next week and December 19th strikes look interesting. So I might look to nibble some of those, but we know how fickle lemonade is, can be volatile. So, and they're still kind of pricey on the call side. So I'll be patient there. Um, and then, SanDisk, right? So, so SanDisk SanDisk's been on the watch list for the last couple of weeks anyway. But I don't know if I wrote on the watch list, but it was like SanDisk is either gonna put the rest. It's maybe it was on the rant this morning that it's either gonna say okay, price discovery is over, and then it's gonna kind of trade in a somewhat reasonable range, or it's the end of its little consolidation period, and then it's gonna take off. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll look for some calls. And then I'm watching in the morning, it breaks over 200, then 202, but the 220s looked expensive in regards to expirations tomorrow. I didn't see any news, and sure enough, off to the races, 215 by 11:30, and then those 220 strikes I was looking at would have been a couple, 1,000%, whatever it was. And then I'm looking at the 225s and the 230s, and then I missed the news, right? That I guess Micron's dropping out of one of their memory businesses that it looks like generic, like not focused on the AI side, and I guess that's SanDisk's wheelhouse. I don't know, or are they going to be able to pick up the supply that is or the demand that MU has that goes to SanDisk? How big is that business? So I don't know. So if it has follow through, I could see maybe people see this news over in the afternoon, kind of like me, and then or haven't seen it yet and see it after the close, after they look and say, oh, SanDisk up 10%. Why is that? And maybe this gets revalued tomorrow to 230 plus. So I might look for some lottos right here at the end of the day. We got 22 minutes left in the day. So that's SanDisk. Actually, let me see what the 230s are right now. I'm still mulling it over here. They were $1 before. 65 by 95. 65 by. All right, so we'll see. All right, so that's SanDisk. Sorry. Deck, right? So Deck, so frustrating to watch this. I'm trying to think of some of the other trades over the last couple of months that required so much mental energy. I just removed them from my watch list. Roku obviously is one of those names that over the years I've spent so much time, either in calls waiting for a move so I can close them out, or just wasting time in general. Deck is kind of doing that, and you look at a chart, you would say, wow, you should be killing on the call side. And here it is. I mean, my calls are up, but I thought I'd be up at least 100% on my 105s. I mean, in hindsight, when I got those 105s, the 90s were, the hundreds were 90 cents. So those are 155 by 170. So those are like up 80%, 70%. So I guess the same kind of percentage gain. So if I'd gotten the 100 strikes, I'm paying, it's more risk, but I still have the same gain. So hopefully, end of the day, we got 22 minutes left. If I can get some out to cover some of the costs, I was looking all day. I'm not going to sell them for 50 cents, right? If I can get them for 60, got them at 35, I'll do that. But still setting up nice, 92.20. Actually, it's 91.60 is the 50-day moving average. So anyway, not going to go on a rant here on Deck. So hopefully I can get some out to cover costs, and then I don't have to waste mental energy trying to manage the trade. Other names, Reddit just kind of flatlining today. Disappointing. I wouldn't say disappointing, but when you're in calls, take a look at the last 3 sessions on these candles. Just crazy stuff. So tomorrow's the day. Whether I get 280 December 19th or I get some weekly strikes into next week, that I'll figure out after the open tomorrow, depending on what the market looks like. I'm trying to think of some of these other names here. Kava. Look at Kava today. It's funny. The first bullish, well, not the first bullish, but a bullish initiation this morning. And you would think the stock would be up 3, 4, 5%, and it's flat. It was actually red for some of the day today. So funny how that goes, how plays out. Other names, BKTX, all the way up to $40. Again, I'm trying not to put on too much risk. So some of the not trying to trade some of these is a function of just controlling the risk side of things, right? Because you just at some point there's gonna be some pull or whatever. I don't want to have too many positions on to have to worry about. All right, so that's that. And then some other names, RH, that lotto I got yesterday afternoon. I was hoping for some follow through. I'm not someone who typically averages down. So when I look for a position, especially a weekly lotto, it's either going to expire. I put on the watch list this morning, Hero Zero, or I'm going to run it out for some lower strikes, right? It's not going to get the same strike. I'll go for less expensive, lower strikes. It might need some catalyst tomorrow. I don't know. I mean, maybe the PC data sets the market on fire and RH is up 7% or 8%, which would be, probably need a little more than that. I'm trying to think of some of the other names I'm watching. After the close, ULTA reports earnings. Last quarter smashed earnings, and the stock you would think I think it was up in the after hours for a little bit, and then gave it all back, closed down 7% the next day. But then after that, I think it recouped the entire loss the day after, and then it near all-time highs. take a look at the implied move, the premiums on the options. I would be surprised if they don't have a monster quarter again. It's just like frustrating if you're in the call side last quarter because if you saw the earnings, you'd be like, wow, this thing should be up 15-20%. It wasn't. And now you start looking at some strikes even to play today for let's say you want to do the weekly strikes. The 600 calls are $2 and the stock is at 536. So that will, if how much you need to make some money on that, and then not only that, to hold risk, that type of risk going in on a weekly expiration, just not up my, not the type of trade I take. So if you do follow some of the trades I've done over the years, ULTA has provided some great opportunities post earnings. And when I say opportunities, 9:31, right, or 9:30 and 30 seconds. Sometimes you can find which way it's going to go, and if it's going to be a bounce or a sell off, and get some crazy either out of the money calls or puts. And within a half hour, boom, a major multi-bagger. So that's how I might trade it. I think that's it, folks. Have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.